A call is being made to destigmatize mental issues, specifically mental health and mental illness in Trinidad and Tobago. Psychiatric nurses want people to show greater awareness of the signs or symptoms which are associated with mental illness. Sherilyn Lewis sat down with principal of the Psychiatric School of Nursing St. Anne's and president of the Nursing Council of Trinidad and Tobago, David Murphy. He says in order for us to understand and treat with mental issues, we must firstly accept it exists.
For many of us, the notion of having mental issues has a negative connotation as it's usually associated with being mad or schizo. But according to David Murphy, who is attached to the St. Anne's Mental Hospital, there are two kinds of mental issues: mental health issues, which include depression and narcissism, and mental illness, which Mr. Murphy explains is an illness of the mind.
Mental health is the aspect of health that governs a person's thinking, a person's well-being, a person's emotions, a person's feelings, a person's mood. Mental health really can then be defined as the ability of an individual to cope with the stresses of life. There are over 390 discrete diagnoses of mental illness. It means that the mental illness speaks of pathology or illness of the mind.
As it pertains to Trinidad and Tobago, Murphy, who is also a registered nurse, said there are a myriad of mental issues facing our citizens, many of whom are not even aware they are affected by mental issues.
We can start with the psychotic type disorders, and we can list a few of them. We can list schizophrenia, for example, which is a major mental illness. We can speak about the schizoaffective disorders, which would be a combination of the psychotic disorders as well as the affective or the mood disorders. The challenge is that from the moment we begin to speak about mental illness, people immediately begin to think that he or she is mad. I beg to differ.
But he stresses, in order for persons to properly be diagnosed and treated, they must first refrain from viewing mental issues as something taboo.
That we can destigmatize that place called St. Anne's Hospital, or destigmatize mental illness, period. There is hardly a family in this country, and maybe in the world, let me expand it, who is not struggling with issues of mental health and mental illness within the family. We can pretend it is not happening, but it affects every single family one way or the other.
According to Mr. Murphy, in the Northwest Regional Health Authority alone, there are wellness centers in Carenage and Barataria, in addition to the Pembroke Street Port of Spain Child Guidance Clinic. He said they all deal specifically with mental issues, and he recommends that persons visit these centers if they suspect a loved one may be affected with some mental illness or showing signs of depression. The following are some symptoms of depression, which is the most common mental health problem: loss of appetite, mundane about life, sadness, indecisiveness, suicidal thoughts, insomnia, and low energy levels. In terms of mental illness, this refers to psychotic illnesses such as hallucinations, which may cause the person to see, hear, and smell things which aren't visible or real, schizophrenia, and bipolar illness, to name a few. Sherilyn Lewis, C News.